everybody. Happy brunch. We're so glad that you're all joining us and doing this. We look forward to seeing you here in a few minutes, probably, depending on when you decide to make this meal. But we have 3 courses that we're going to do here. I'm actually going to plate 2 of the courses together for you today because when you are doing this at home, if you're like me and you have kids running around and it's crazy, doing 3 courses might be a little bit challenging. So if we do everything kind of together, I think it will come out and plate nicely, and hopefully you'll feel like you have a really nice breakfast with us. So this is going to be what you get from us. You're going to get everything packaged a little bit, and I'm going to show you how to pull this all out, heat it up, and then plate it so hopefully it feels like maybe you're going in and having a nice brunch with us here at the winery. So we have our asparagus mushroom quiche, and it's going to come to you like this. And I've preheated my oven to 375, and so I'm going to take the wrap off of this, and I'm just going to throw it right into the oven, just like this. And this is going to heat for about 30 minutes in the oven. So I'm just going to toss this in and set my imaginary timer for 30 minutes. And when that's been heating for about 15 minutes, then we're going to start to do our vegetable fritters. So I'll show you how we'll start those. If you have a little sheet pan at home, this is what we're going to heat them on. If you have a little glass casserole container, you can do it in that. These are all going to come wrapped up with parchment on them. So you'll just take them out of the Ziploc, and you can just leave them kind of wrapped in that parchment and set them onto whatever baking dish you choose to use. And we'll set them on just like that. And these will start to come to room temperature here for just a little bit while our quiche is warming up. And then to go with our little vegetable fritters, we have a maple bacon spread, and it's going to look kind of fatty here to start. But what I'd like you to do with that is, if you have some sort of a little ceramic bowl, or if you have a mason jar that you want to put it in, you're just going to scoop this out into your bowl, your ceramic dish, your mason jar. And all we're going to do with that is we're going to set it on the back of your stove top to start to warm up while the oven is heating everything. Now, if you don't have a stove top that sits on top of your oven, and so that's not an option, you can also just stick this in the microwave for about 20-30 seconds, or until it warms up and all that fat kind of melts in there. Now, if you are a vegetarian and the bacon doesn't sound good, you can just put maple syrup with these, and that's going to be a really lovely option with these little vegetable fritters. So this is where we're at right now. We're going to wait our next probably about 12 minutes that we have left on the quiche, and then we'll toss these in the oven with the quiche at 375. And these will be in there for about 15 minutes to heat. All right, so it's been 15 minutes. We're gonna put our vegetable fritters into the oven with the quiche. So if you want, you can kind of pull the quiche out and check, look at it, turn it around if you feel like that's necessary. We'll just close that up. I'm gonna give our little bacon syrup a stir here. You can see, maybe you can see, this is starting to warm up and kind of melt, just sitting on the heat of the back of the stove. And then while we're here, I'm going to put together a little herb kind of salad that we're going to put onto the plate with our fritters and our quiche. So these are herbs here from Raptor Ridge. We've got all kinds of different things in here, and you might get something a little bit different. You might get the same stuff, but all you're going to do is just kind of pull through. Now you have 2 options. You can make this something that you can, if you want to eat it, we'll have already washed this. You can wash it again, but I'm going to just take, you can also just kind of set it like a little bundle on your plate if you're thinking, all right, well, I don't really want to eat just a mouthful of herbs. You can take this and you can just set it on your plate, and we'll just plate it here with this nice pretty bundle of herbs. It will smell nice and aromatic. If you're feeling like you wanted to chop some up, you could take some of these leaves and you could strip some of these off of the stem. So there's a couple different options. So if I was gonna do a little salad here, I'd pull these off and roll these up. Take some of these like so. Just pulling the thyme and sage. We've got basil here. And just give this a little chiffonade, so you're gonna thinly slice it, kind of roll it up together, thinly slice. Everything together. And then you could give it another couple chops if something didn't quite get as small as you'd like. And then you can take the leaves off of these edible flowers and you can just kind of toss those into it. Like so. You have this nice pretty little herb salad that you can put in the corner of your plate. All right, so you've got two options there. You can do your little bundle and just make your plate nice and pretty, or you can also do a little herb salad. Okay, there we go. All right, so hopefully you enjoyed your quiche and your fritters and you're getting ready for the Pop-Tarts. So I've sent home some strawberries. I figured we'd do just a little bit of knife skills. These have been washed, but you're welcome to wash them again if you'd like. So we're just gonna fan some strawberries here. If you haven't done that before, it's not hard, but we'll just pop the end off. And then all you're gonna do is you hold it and you make these thin slices, not quite all the way through the strawberry, okay? So you keep a portion of it intact. And then you can just take it and you spread it out. So you've got a nice little fan there. So then we can plate just like so. So we'll do a couple more here. So we're about ready to take stuff out of the oven, but before we do that, we're gonna get our Pop-Tarts ready to go. So these are homemade Pop-Tarts, and we were chatting about putting them in the toaster. I would not recommend putting these in the toaster. The frosting that's on top, as you can see, is fairly sticky, and I'm worried that if you put these in the toaster, it would melt off and burn in your toaster. But you can heat them in your oven. So they're gonna come wrapped in parchment just like this, and then you can, we're gonna put these in the oven when we take everything else out for just a little bit. In fact, probably what we'll do is turn the oven off. The oven will still be hot, and we will slide these Pop-Tarts into an off oven that's still warm. So before we do that, let's take our quiche and our fritters out. So here we've got our fritters, they're nice and warm, and our quiche is looking really lovely. I'm gonna turn my oven off, and I'm gonna grab my Pop-Tarts and I'm just gonna slide those guys in here. And they don't have to be in there very long. You could slide those in if you're not ready for Pop-Tarts immediately after you eat. You could wait 15 minutes or until you're done eating this dish, and then slide the Pop-Tarts in a warm oven for 5 minutes, and that would be, that's all they're gonna take to warm up. They won't take long. But here, let's go ahead and get started plating up our quiche and our fritters. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tip this out. I'll send an extra piece of parchment so that you can do this with your quiche. Just take that piece of parchment with you. Pick it up. It's going to be a little warm. You're going to tip this out onto your hands, if you cooperate, and then back onto your cutting board. And then from here, you're going to cut this into quarters. Now you could just cut it in half if you'd like, but for serving, I think it looks really nice if you take it and you slice it into quarters. And then we'll place this onto our plates here, like so. And then we'll do our other plate, like so. And I wish you guys could smell this. It smells so lovely. And then we've got our little fritters right here. I'm gonna grab a little spatula, maybe. So pull these off. And I'm gonna set 2 of these onto each plate right next to our quiche, like so. And then you've got options. You could spoon our little bacon syrup right over top of the fritters, but because if you're like me, I'm gonna throw parchment everywhere. If you're like me, you might like to dip or kind of spoon that syrup onto each individual bite because you don't want anything to get soggy. So you can see this heated up really, really nicely. So I'm gonna take half of this and I'm gonna spoon it into this other little dish here. And like I said, if you're a vegetarian, everything else in this meal is vegetarian except for this bacon syrup. You could use just regular maple syrup if you'd like that. And so then I can set one of these onto each plate, and voila, we have our quiche, bacon fritters, a little herb salad or bouquet, whatever you choose, with the bacon and maple syrup. Our Pop-Tarts are warming up. We'll take those out here in just a minute. Enjoy. So there's not really a wrong way to put them on the plate, just whatever feels nice to you. And you could also decide, like, I don't want to fan my strawberry, I just want to eat it. And that is always acceptable. Got our nice little presentation here. We'll pop our Pop-Tarts out of the oven. And you can see with that heat, we've got a little caramelization of the sugar there. So even though the oven isn't on, it's definitely warm enough to get these Pop-Tarts nice and toasty. All right, and I'm just gonna slide those off like so. And really, they only need, in that warm oven, they probably only need 2 or 3 minutes because these are really nice and warm here now. You can also do them room temperature if you prefer your Pop-Tarts room temperature. You don't even need to throw them in the oven. So thank you everybody for joining us today. I hope that you've enjoyed this process and that you enjoy the food and the wine together. Thank you.